Okay, so today's online resource, I'm going to be talking about Scratch. So Scratch is a block-based visual programming language, and this is a link to get started. You can create a free account and start coding. And on Scratch, there's a lot of different tutorials and activities that you can do. Scratch is used in robotics as well. So an example for that is in Vex Robotics. So I've added a link onto this slide, and you can program robots virtually through Scratch on this website, and you just have to start a free account. So I'm going to do a quick demo for that. So this is the website, and these are all the activities you can choose from. And then each activity has different levels. So there's level 1, 2, 3, and I did the most basic one, which is level 1. So here it is. And then as you can see here, I programmed, and there's a few blocks here, and this is where you run your program. So the challenge that I did was move forward for 1 and then come back, and then 2 and then 4. So this is the most simple one that I did, but there's more advanced ones, and there's a lot of different activities that you can choose from. Also, because of the coronavirus, there is a Vex Robotics Virtual World Celebration, and it's on April 25th, which is tomorrow. And you can click on this link if you want to go watch that. So yeah. And then now, Sophie from an FLL team 40657 is going to present. She's going to talk about the LD view of FLL competition bot model, LeoCAD to assemble parts, and a few options on different platforms. So now I'm going to share the screen with her.
Hi, my name's Sophie from Team ACP Young, and today in my presentation I'm going to use LD View to introduce our team robot, demonstrate how to use LeoCAD to assemble parts, and compare 3 different kinds of CAD that our team used last year. First, let me introduce our robot, the BoxBot. This is the robot we built last year. Our robot got first place for robot performance and second place for robot design in the qualifier. Our team used CAD to design our BoxBot. Why did we use CAD? CAD creates 3D models. CAD designs can be modified quickly, and they are more secure than paper drawings. You can also share them instantly, like if you want to send it to a teammate. This is an incomplete version, so you can see the inside. It has 4 wheels. It has 4 wheels, 2 of which are driving wheels, and they're connected to large motors. There's another large motor that controls the plane that will go in front. And yeah. This is the gyro sensor. It makes sure the robot goes straight and turns accurately. It is in the middle because it has to be in a stable place so that it can make an accurate reading. These 2 are the color or light sensors. They can detect the black lines that are on a mission field, and they have to be very close to the bottom to detect the lines correctly. But they can't be too close or they stop the robot from driving. This is on LD View. You can't edit on LD View, but let me introduce you to LeoCAD, where you can edit. Okay, this is LeoCAD, and this is the dragon I made. Here's the plate, what the thing that the dragon is on. Here's the parts library with all the pieces in it. And if you want to move the dragon, you can do Control A, and select all, and you can hover over these arrows, and if one turns yellow, you can click and drag. You can rotate the plate in different directions by clicking on this ball in the corner and dragging. Okay. And this is the move snap feature. If I enable it, it lets my pieces move more precisely. And now I will add a fire thing to the dragon. Oh dear, dragon. I have to rotate it. Like, oh my gosh, this thing. Oops. I don't need to do that. Okay. I also have to look from different angles to make sure I'm not like way off. Like this. And that is. Oof. Oof. Go down. Meh, that's good. Now the dragon can breathe fire. If you want to build like a robot or something, you can search motor, and there's like this large motor, and you can search wheel, and well, half of these are motorcycles. Oh, here's a wheel. Yay, it's a wheel. Oh no, rotate. Yay. Oh no, get back there. And, and you can like put them together like that. There are a bunch more features on LeoCAD that you can play around with, and I think you will enjoy that. Now I'm going to introduce 3 different kinds of software that our team used last year. Where's the scroll button? Where's this? Mom, where's the scroll button? Oh. Okay. 3 different kinds of CAD software that our team used last year are LeoCAD, LDCAD, and Bricksmith. These 3 kinds of software allow you to create virtual models by using virtual Lego bricks. All 3 kinds of software provide a huge part library and the option to use most of the official Lego colors. LeoCAD interface. LeoCAD is a feature-rich solution that allows experienced users to build a model by using advanced techniques. Bricksmith interface. In Bricksmith, the parts library isn't displayed as it is in LeoCAD and LDCAD. You can see the image of the part only after you click on its name. It has a drag and drop feature, which is efficient. LD interface of the sample model. In LDCAD, the bricks are categorized, and once you click on a category, all the bricks under that category are displayed with images. LDCAD supports script-based animation. Depending on your computer, you may choose to use the LD Draw parts library with any of these programs. You can also move files around between these 3 kinds of CAD software. For example, if you save the model created in LeoCAD with the ID LDR format, you can open the file in LDCAD or Bricksmith. LDCAD is Windows-based, Bricksmith is Mac-based, and LeoCAD can be used on both. LDCAD and LeoCAD can also be used with Linux operating systems. I attached some links for more information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Sophie. So Sophie is on one of the FLL teams that we mentor. So now Aiden is going to present. He's going to talk about CAD tools. So yeah, Aiden, you can start.
Okay, so I am Aiden and I'm in second grade this year. And I am from Team Dragon Builders. This is the poster and model we made from last season. We won this Amazing Movement Award from designing our auto door by CAD. Our auto door has a sensor, so when you put your when it senses the movement, it automatically opens for 10 seconds at a safety feature. Now I will show you how we use CAD to design our auto door. Now I'll start to screen. Can you see it? So this is step 1 of building this was adding two 2x6 plates. Step 2 was adding one 2x4 brick. Step 3 was hole. Step 4 was adding two 1x16 bricks. Step 5 was adding one 4x4 plate with an 2x2 open center. Step 6 was adding one slope brick, a 2x1 slope brick. Step 7 was adding one 2x4 plate. Step 8 was adding one 2x2 round plate with an axle hole. Step 9 was adding one 2x4 plate. And step 10 was adding one electric power function 2.0 hub. In order to save time, I'll show you the next step. So this is our auto door. You can see it in a front view, back view, left view, right view, top view, bottom view, and home view, which basically means a diagonal view from the end of the model. So this is our auto door we built. We built in CAD. Thank you. Now I will turn it to the next speaker.
Okay, thank you, Aiden. I've also attached some links for CAD tools. So when we send you guys this PowerPoint later, you guys can use that. Now I'm going to turn it over to Byron, and he's going to talk about RoboCode.
All right, hey everybody. Welcome to the second session of our robotics fun hour. I'll be talking about RoboCode again and continuing where we left off. So let's just run through these slides. Starting off, these 3 slides you'll notice are from last session. If you guys are just joining, then we put these here for you guys to get caught up. These are just instructions for install. And then once you're done with install, some basic concepts of RoboCode. We covered these all last session, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Just remember, we're going to be sending out these slides after the session is done. So if you're new or if you didn't get fully caught up, or you just want to review, you can check on these 3 slides again, as well as every other slide in our slides. So let's start off. In the email we sent you, we recommended that you guys install Eclipse IDE. So we're not going to spend time in class installing it, but just checking with everybody, can you please type in chat if you successfully installed Eclipse? If you didn't, that's fine. You can use the Robocode default source editor, but it's going to be a lot simpler and easier for you to use Eclipse because there's a lot of functions in here. All right, I see a lot of no's, some yeses. That's fine. If you guys need help, with installing Eclipse, then feel free to email me or the team email after the thing, and we'll be happy to help you guys set up Eclipse. But for now, if you don't have it, you can just use the default source editor, so there's no problem here. All right, so just talking about Java a little bit. If you guys are new to Java and programming, Java is called an object-oriented coding language, which means that most everything is contained in units called classes. Everything is contained in units called classes. And then we're going to be sending out the slide. This is just some basics of Java if you're new or if you want to brush up. There's a lot of info here. We're not going to be going in detail into Java in class. We're just going to be going over how it pertains to Robocode. So yeah, we're not going to be going over much of this in class. It's just here for you to learn and understand it better. These are some nice coding tips that you can follow. Make sure to import a library. Keep your class name the same as your file name and make sure it's descriptive, and look through error messages to try to find out what problems are in your code. All right, so without any further ado, let's actually start coding. So what I want you guys to do is open up Robocode. So in your start menu, search up Robocode or open it, or if you run a different operating system than Windows. If you run a different operating system than Windows, open it how you normally open it. And navigate to the battle option. All right. For those of you whose Robocode still isn't working, I'm going to be sharing my battle so you guys can still look at it. So I'm going to start a battle, and I'm going to start a battle between 2 copies of the same robot that we're going to be looking at today. It's called My First Robot. It's a super simple robot. So we're going to start it, and we're going to see this robot in action. So as you can see, this robot's super simple. It's not very advanced. All it does is flick its radar around, and it fires a bullet whenever it sees an enemy. Okay. Just look at chatter. Okay, everybody, try to keep chat. I know I've been talking to everybody before this, but try to keep chat on topic and focus, and like keep it to questions only, so we can actually see when people have questions. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna stop this right now, and we're gonna actually take a look at the source code for Robocode. So can everybody open their source editor in Robocode? You can press Control E, or you can go into the robot menu and find the source editor. So I'm gonna share my screen, and can you guys open up the My First Robot? It's in the folder called Sample, and it's called My First Robot. So if you open up real quick, and you can see all the source code for this robot that we have. And again, My First Robot comes entirely with Robocode, so if you installed Robocode successfully, you should be able to see this under the robot screen when you open. So I'm gonna give everybody a second to open it and just scroll through it real quick, and then we're gonna go over the entire thing kind of line by line. Okay, so we're gonna be going line by line over my first robot. Real quick, starting from here, this is the package name. So every class, every robot and every file in Java has to have their package name at the very top so the compiler knows where to find it. And you can see here, the package name is sample. As you can see, that's the name of the folder you open to get to my first robot. So you need to include a package sample line. Uh, every line in Java has to be ended with a semicolon. That's how the compiler knows that your line has ended. And then here are some imports. Imports are super important. Basically, what you're doing is you're grabbing some lines of code from other libraries. In this case, it's from Robocode. And this is what allows us to get all the stuff that comes pre-installed with Robocode, so you don't have to write any of it yourself. You can just use functions and lines of code that have already been written. So you have to make sure that you've imported all the things you want to import before you start coding. Otherwise, your compiler will run into errors. And then here's the class. As we went over before, Java is entirely split into classes. So every file is basically a class. And in our case, in Robocode, every class extends the robot subclass. Basically, what it means is it carries a lot of the properties of the original robot. So a lot of the things are already written for you. You just need to fill it out. And then the final thing that's kind of important in these first few sections are these comments. So you can write comments with either the slash and the dot and then another dot and backslash, or you can write them with 2 backslashes. And this is just for you to write comments in your code for clarability and readability. And they're not going to do anything to code, but you can mark stuff. You can like say what a particular snippet of code does, and it really helps to keep your code organized. All right, so let's go into the meat of things. Every Robocode robot has a few main functions. The most important one is run. So obviously this is what's gonna be ran once you start a battle and you simulate your robot. And inside this run, you're gonna have a while true loop. Basically, it's super simple. What this does is it just loops this infinitely, in our case, until the battle's over. So if you remember in our previous battle, all the robot did was move back and forth and keep turning around. And this is the code that makes it happen. You make it go ahead, turn gun right, back, turn gun right. All this code is super intuitive. Everything does basically exactly what you expect it to do. So, and then here's the really interesting part. So here's the event responders. So when robots have something happen to them, for example, they scan a robot on their radar or they get hit by a bullet, you can make these functions to basically tell the robot how to respond to these. For example, my first robot fires exactly when he scanned a robot. And when he's hit by a bullet, he's going to turn left to try to dodge other bullets that are coming. All right. So I just went over a brief run through over my first robot. Does anyone have any questions? If not, we're going to have you guys make a new copy of the code and actually start coding it. All right, real quick, any questions? Are good? Get bearing gets the it gets the bearing of the robot. The bearing is basically the angle of the robot, how much it's tilted. How much it's tilted, yeah. So, yeah, let's get started. So if you're in Eclipse, I'm gonna start the robot. If you're just in the default robot editor, I'm gonna show you guys how to make a new robot real quick, and then I'm gonna jump over to Eclipse and show you guys, you people who are in Eclipse, how to make a new robot. Okay, so in the robot editor, the default robocode one, it's really simple. You have to go to all you have to do is go to File, New, and press Robot. Give it a name. I'm gonna call it my second robot. But you can call it anything you want as long as you remember the name. And then enter a short package name. Robocode recommends you do your initials. I think that's a good option. So all the robots you write will be stored under one folder with your initials on it. So for example, my package is gonna be called BL. Again, you can name it anything you want. Just keep the names short, keep the names simple so you can remember them and they're not that hard to type out. Okay, so this is a brand new robot. And what we're gonna want to do is take all the stuff in my first robot and we're gonna copy it over so you can start playing around with it. All right, now that you're on here, I'm gonna switch over to my Eclipse and I'm gonna just briefly run through how you make a new robot with that. Do I not have Eclipse installed? Okay, sorry about that. I can't find my Eclipse. So we're just gonna work in the default robot editor for today. So everybody who's installed RoboCode should have that. So if you have an Eclipse, just don't worry about that for now, and we can go over it later. We did send the instructions over email for how to create new robots in Eclipse. If you just click on some of the links in that installation help doc we sent. So we should get that all settled out. Again, if you have any questions after this session, feel free to email me or the team email. Okay, so we're gonna be looking mainly at the default robocode editor. So if everyone switches that, that's fine. Again, you go to robot, source editor, and then go over here. And then open up the editor. So you can see here, we're editing our own robot called My Second Robot. So,
Can't see the editor.
you can't see the editor? What do you mean? Also, if you have any questions, please type them in chat.
On your
don't.
share screen. On your screen share.
Oh, yeah, my bad. I'm gonna switch to editor real quick. Yeah, that's not bad. Thanks for reminding me. Again, if you have any questions or reminders for a forgetful presenter, please type them in chat. Don't unmute yourself. All right. So we're gonna go over the robot editor real quick. So here is your very own file, My Second Robot. You can see it's basically the exact same as my first robot. A few things are different. You can see the class name is different, and you can see the package name is different, and all that's because you stored in a different package and you named it a different name. But the rest of it should be pretty simple. It works the exact same way. So now we can just start playing around with it and edit it. So our first few changes, our first few code bits are going to be super simple. So let's see what's going to happen if instead of a head 100, we just change it to a head 200. Again, super simple. And then whenever you make any change to the code, you have to save it. Since it's the first time I'm saving it, there's an option. You're gonna see a window to save as. You can't see it here because that's a different window. but you can basically see the save as, and then you can just press save. And then from then on, that screen is going to pop up anytime you save. After you save, you need to compile. So to do that, you're going to press Control B, or you can go to compiler and just press this button right here, compile. And it's going to compile real quick. If you have any errors, this is where it's going to show up. So if you have any errors, they're going to show up like error, and then the error is going to show up, and you're going to have to look in the line where the error is popping up and try to see what the issue is. But here, since we only changed a little bit and the sample code already compiled successfully, our own thing is also going to compile successfully. So now, yeah. So now that we've okay. So I'm just gonna show you a brief example of what's gonna happen if you have an error. So I'm gonna remove the semicolon right here. Again, you need a semicolon at the end of every line, or else it's not gonna work properly. So now I'm gonna save it, Control S, and I'm gonna compile it, Control B. And then you can see here, there's an error at line 11. So you can look line 11. Yeah, that's a line where we removed the semicolon, and it says syntax error. Insert semicolon to complete block statement. So this is super simple. It basically tells you what you need to do. Sometimes the errors aren't going to be that simple, but the way you're going to deal with them is going to be basically the same thing. You look at the line where there's an error and you check your coding to see what's wrong and what's happening. All right, but now that we're going to compile it again so it's successful. You can see now that we added in the semicolon, it's successful again. We're going to compile it again. And now we're going to start. We're just going to run a battle against our original robot to see how our new robot fares. So looking at the battle screen, all the robots that you've compiled successfully are going to be listed out here. And they're going to be listed by packages. So you can see your packages, you can sort by them. So if I look on BL, I'm going to see all my robots that I've stored under the package BL. And if you see the sample, you're going to see all the robots that are stored in sample. And one other interesting thing is that if you made a battle before, the robots that you put in the battle are going to be saved in the next battle. So you can see I have two My First Robots here, just like in the last battle where we had two My First Robots. So we're just going to remove one real quick, and then we're going to go to our packet, to my package BL, or whatever you named your package. Pick My Second Robot, or again, whatever you named your new robot, and add it to the battle. And then we can start a battle. So you can immediately see that My Second Robot is behaving a little differently. So while My First Robot is going back and forth the exact same amount, because we changed My Second Robot to go forward 100, it's actually going back forward a lot more than it's going back, and it's crashing. It's causing it to crash into the wall. So this is super simple. It doesn't really have any impact on the battle, but it just shows what the impacts of your code changes are. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen a little, and I want you guys to just experiment on your own with changing some of the values around, and testing it against the original My First Robot and seeing how it goes. I'll be answering questions, and we'll just stay like this for around 5 minutes. Okay. Someone says my thing does not show the radar. Yeah. That thing is, the radar option actually isn't enabled by default. I'm going to show you guys how to enable it because it can be pretty useful for debugging. So you want to go to options. You want to go to preferences. And then you can click on view options. And then right here, this checkbox says visible scan arcs. Your checkbox is probably unchecked. You want to check it. And then you can just press finish. and you should be able to see now the scan arcs of the radar. It says the public type my first robot must be defined in your own file. Yeah, that's because you copied over the class name too. So what you want to do is change. So what you want to do when you're copying is here. Let me share screen. Robot editor. When you copy my first robot, you only want to copy what's inside your public class my first robot. You don't want to copy the entire thing. So you can just copy this, and then paste it in here. Yeah. So you can see this is the original my first robot, except you didn't touch your package and you didn't touch the class. So it's gonna stay the same. But if you yeah, Henry? Well, what's the question? You can just type in the chat. Benjamin asks, can I still submit the robocode for the competition today? We'll be going over that later, but TLDR, since we just started coding today, well, most of us just started coding today, we're not gonna actually have any battles between students robots until the next session, the third session. It won't let me install robocode. Okay, so we went over install last session, but if you still have any problems, just email me and I can set up a Zoom session for you and we can get your install you can get your install all worked out. What do you mean you try? I'm gonna send my email address here. I'm gonna send my email address on the Zoom chat. You can also look at the email that sent you the email that sent you guys the info. I believe it's our team email, and you can email that, and then one of our team members can get it to me, and I can respond. So I sent my email in chat. You guys can save it and email me after the session if you still have any problems with install for Robocode, for Java, for Eclipse, or if you have any coding problems too. Just feel free to email me whenever you want. When you try to install the Eclipse, it's saying my Java is not updated, but it's updated. Make sure you have the correct Java version. I know you said it's updated, just double check. And if you're sure, then you want to change the path variable. You want to make sure your path variable is in the correct installation. So that's all that is in the doc that we sent you guys. All that is in the doc that we sent you guys in the first email, and I think in the second email too. Yeah. So Melody sent some info there, so I'm not going to be answering any more questions about Eclipse and Java install. I'm only going to be talking about code issues now. Alina says, I can't figure out how to add a package. Well, it should prompt you to do it right away if you're using Robot Editor, which I recommend you guys do. So if you look here, Alina, if you create a new robot, so that's new robot, it's gonna ask you to enter the name, and then it's gonna ask you to enter a package name right here, and then you can just enter your initials is what we recommend. All right. Can you show how to fix the public type error again? Sure. So what you want to do is instead of copying the entire thing, so you don't want to Control A or you don't want to copy the entire thing, you only want to copy what's inside here. You only want to copy what's inside the public class my first robot extends robot. So you can grab this code, Control C it, and then open this up and paste it in here. And again, you're gonna paste it inside your class so that there's not any issues. Okay. Yeah. So the main thing, the reason why that error is showing up is because the name of your class, my second robot, has to be the same as the name of your file, my second robot. That's why the error is showing up. So if you don't want to copy and paste the whole thing again, you can just change the my first robot and your public class to whatever you named your file. It should show up at the top right in this bar. And you also have to remember to change your package to the correct package that you made. Okay? All right. Moving on. All right, please, the person with the two Lenny faces, keep chat on topic so we can actually see questions. All right? Can you show how to fix the public typer again? Yes, Easton. If you didn't get an email yesterday, the email should be. If you didn't get an email, then how did you find the Zoom code? We sent out the Zoom code and all the info in the email, and that's how.
The
We got
email
everything.
that you use to sign up with the Google form. So if
Yeah.
there's a separate email, then that's the reason you didn't get the email. But we used the emails that were turned in when you signed up. So if you want another email to be used, you can privately chat me and I'll add you to the mailing list.
Yeah, what Melody said. You didn't get. Okay, so if you didn't get an email, then again, PM Melody with your email address, and she'll add you to the mailing list, and she can send a copy of the previous email for you. Okay. Is there any other questions that I missed? Any other questions? William says I can't compile and I fixed all errors. So what's okay, Henry? What's the issue? Oh, weren't you the one that didn't install Robocode? As I said before, I won't be going over install, like Java install, Robocode install, or Eclipse install questions here right now. We can go over them over email or after the session is done. But right now, I'm gonna focus on coding, coding problems, just so we can keep the whole thing moving. Okay. Something different. What's wrong, Henry? Also, William, you said you can't compile, even though you fixed all the errors. Are you still having the problem? Okay, so which error, Michelle? Let's start from. Okay, I stopped sharing. I stopped sharing. William, can you share your screen and we can you share your screen and the compiler so we can see what error you have? You're still getting an error. The method right is undefined for the type canon. Yeah, right. The problem, Ethan, is that right isn't a real right isn't a real a real function. Yeah. The function is called turn gun right and turn left and turn right. So right you want to do turn right instead of right. That's what's causing the issue. I'm sorry, William, did you share your screen? I didn't see it, and I don't think you're sharing anymore. Michelle, this is my error. Extend robot. Yeah, so that's the error we were just talking about. I went over that a couple times. What you want to do, the error is because the name of your robot, the name that's in public class, my first robot, extend robot, isn't the same as your file name. So, sorry, William, I'm gonna share my screen real quick, and I'm gonna go, yeah. So you can see here, it says public class my second robot extends robot. And you can see up on the top, the file name is my second robot. The class name has to be the same as your file name. So you can just change your class name to whatever you named your file. Or alternatively, when you copy over my first robot, don't copy the entire file, only copy over the code in the class. All right? All right, there's a lot of code being pasted on here. If you're gonna paste your code, only please only like paste like the actual compiler error. Don't paste your whole thing, just so we can keep the chat organized. Because I'm having to scroll a lot to actually see. What was the website you stated? What was all the websites you stated? Um, so the links to the Robocode install can be found on the slides, which we'll be sending out, and the Robocode instructions doc is also going to be linked on the email we're sending out after the session. So you can just wait on that. Scan robot event. It's the same name as the file. Are you sure? You need to make sure your class name is the same as the file. I think your class name was something like MinionBot, like Bob Minion. Your file name was like BobMinion.java, but your code says public class my first robot extends robot. So you want to make it so that it says public class Bob Minion extends robot. Okay. Um. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Michelle, can you share this? Can you share the screen? And just to keep the thing moving, you're gonna be the last question on code I answer in the session itself. After the session, I'm gonna stay around for like 15 minutes for Q&A. All right, can you save? Save and then try to compile. The public. Okay, can you scroll down? Can you scroll down somewhere? Because it shouldn't say my first robot unless that's somewhere in your code. So you can press OK on the compiler error and then scroll down a bit. Yeah, so see down here, you have this whole other thing. You want to delete all of that because that's what's causing the compiler to get funky. And because you have a whole other class pasted on there. All right, yeah, okay. This is the last question I'll be taking over code. Again, if you still have any compiler errors, there's a Q&A session for 15 minutes after the lesson ends at 8. You can ask me there and I'll respond and I'll work through everybody's questions. Okay. Let's keep it moving. So debugging took a lot more time than expected. I was gonna have you guys do this in class, but for homework, can you guys try to make your robot draw a square? So try to make your robot just draw a square on the game field and make it do that over and over and over, okay? Just a fun little challenge. Make sure to put some combination of a heads and turns in your while true loop. Yeah. And then if you really want to try something, try to make it draw a circle, try to make it draw a triangle, try to make it draw other shapes, okay? These are just simple exercises you can use to get yourself more familiar with Java and Robocode. But we don't have much time for that, so I'm not going to have you guys do that in class. Let's go over the battles. So, yes, last session we went over downloading Robocode. This session we started coding. So next session we're finally going to start battles between your own submitted robots. So how it's going to work is we have a submission form, which is going to be the link is going to be sent out in the slides that we're going to send you over email after the session ends. All right. So at Wednesday, this form is going to open and it's going to close at Thursday. So we're going to ask you a few questions. Here, I can just show you guys the form. So we're going to ask you a few questions. Your coding experience. If you've ever coded with Java before, you're in Division 2. If you haven't, then it's Division 1. Super simple. You don't have to have coded with Java with Robocode specifically. As long as you've touched Java before, just select Division 2. And then there's an option to add your file. Just add the file of your robot, like the .java file. And then your name of robot, it should be the exact same as the name of your file and then the name of the coder. That's just your name. Okay. Please use your real name. Don't use any like wild online nickname, just so we can keep track of everything. So we're gonna start that. For time, it's going to be 4 and 4 instead of the classic 2 and 2, but it's basically the same thing. We're just gonna keep tallying the score and see who wins. This is just kind of a friendly competition. Not any real stakes or anything involved. Just having fun and see who's managing to build the best robot. So, I know you haven't coded with Java before. If you coded with Python, C. Interesting. Okay, just choose division 2. Yeah. So let me make that clear. If you've coded with languages similar to Java, like Python, C, C++, not blocks, but if you've coded with similar languages to Java, you can select the division 2 too. It's just a rough gauge of who has coding experience, who's brand new to coding. We just want to keep it a bit there. Yeah. All right. I'll answer the rest of the questions during Q&A. Recommended prep. Yeah. So I know we didn't have a lot of time to go over stuff because debugging spent so long. But if you want to prep and you want to kind of make your robot better, a really good thing to do is do the same thing with My First Robot, but for the other sample robots. So if you look on your robocode and start a new sample, you can see all these other robots, not just My First Robot. There's robots like Trackfire, Wall, Corner, Crazy. There's a bunch of other robots. And you can do the exact same thing we did with My First Robot, which is open them up and look at the code. Maybe you can copy it into your own robot, try to change some things, and see how the robot works. So that's going to be the best way to learn. And you can try combining aspects of different robots. That's what Victor and David have done so far. And I know they're starting to make some really, really strong and complex robots. So if you guys want to prep for the battle, that's the best prep I can do for you. Anything else to do? Melody, do we have anything else? Do we have like a video like last time we want to show them?
No, but I just want to say really quickly, if you have any questions, like we said before, Byron will stay after 8 o'clock. And then also, if you, like, I already fixed this for some people, but if you submitted a different email on the form than you want us to use, you can privately chat me and I'll add you to the mailing list. And then if you have any other questions, you can email Byron or you can email our team, which is technicbots.team@gmail.com. And then Byron has his email in the chats. And we'll send an email to you after this class with all the slides and the submission information and all of the installation documents. So, yes.
I'm going to send it once again in the chat for any of y'all that missed it. All right. And just a few things, just one last thing before we move on to Q&A, and that's a quick note about the Robocode API. So what that basically means is the functions and knowing what line of code does what. So the best way to learn is through example. So again, just like I've talked about for the prep, you can open up different robots, different sample robots, and all of those will already be like pre-compiled. So you know for sure that everything there works. And if you want to know how to do a certain thing, the names for most of the functions are super intuitive. So turn gun right, turns gun right. So if you want to know the name, if you want to know how to do something, open up the sample robots, scroll through them, and if you see a function that looks like what you want to do, you can put it into your own robot and test it out. So for example, you can see if you want to know how to turn left, here, there's a line of code that says turn left. That says turn left. That says turn left. So you can paste it into your own robot, change the values around, try it out. That's going to be the best way to get a hold of the API. There's a bunch of spam showing up in the chat. I mean, we don't, the main session is basically over, but for those of you that are going to be showing up for the next session, please keep the chat on topic. Don't try to be funny. You aren't. Keep the chat on topic. Keep it for questions only, or if you're answering questions, don't just mindlessly spam it like Huiyan Wang just did. Okay? All right. If that's all, move on. We're gonna move on to Q&A. So anyone that still has questions, you can stay behind. Anybody who doesn't, this is the end of the official session. Feel free to leave the Zoom meeting. Yeah. If you have questions, I'm gonna be staying for like 15-20 minutes to answer any questions and work through them with y'all. All right. Okay, Ethan, do you still have the problem with turning left?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you give me the code for turn right? All right. Uh, let's see here. So it should be correct. It should be just turn left, right? So if we do this, turn left, and change it to turn right. A possible problem, here, let me share my screen real quick. A possible problem you might be having, Ethan, is you didn't fill in this parentheses. If you just leave it like this, turn right, you don't know, the compiler doesn't know how much you want to turn right. So it's gonna throw an error.
Problem solved. Okay.
So you want to fill that in with something like 90. And then if you try to compile it, yeah, you can see it's compiled successfully. Okay. All right, anything else? Nah, you put in 90, yeah. Okay. Then can you share your screen real quick and we can work through this? Well, with you sharing your screen. Ethan, do you know how to share your screen? So in your Zoom, you want to hover over like the main screen where you should be able to see my face. Hover over that, and on the bottom, you should see a black bar. And in the middle of that bar, you should see a green kind of icon that says share screen. Yeah, perfect, you got it. So you start screen sharing. Yeah. Can you open up your robot? Yes, can and delete. Oh, so you set it to 10. Okay. Well, first off, you didn't name it right. So if you scroll down, if you can scroll down, you can see that on hit by bullet, in the on hit by bullet session, you can see that the turn left has the first T like uncapitalized. So if you uncapitalize the first T for that and change it to something like 90, because yeah, the high number might also be causing an error. And then save it. Yeah. There. And then it's compiled successfully. So if you want to, you can test it out in the actual robot code. Just start a battle with your robot and see how it moves and make sure that it is turning right when you want it to. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Doesn't look like there's any questions popping up in chat. So we're gonna wait for a few more minutes, and if there's not, then we're just gonna end the meeting. Again, everybody that's still here, if you don't have any questions or anything you want to ask us, feel free to leave. The main session of the meeting has already ended. This is just the Q&A. I forgot what get bearing is. Can you please tell me again? Okay. So first off, get bearing is that's exactly what it sounds. It gets the bearing of the robot. What the bearing is, it's basically its orientation, what angle it is. So, for example, if the robot's like tilted 90 degrees, it's gonna return something like 90. And if you don't know what a certain thing is, right now I should be sharing my Chrome tab. All you have to do is go to, well, the simplest thing is to just search it up and go. So robocode get bearing. And then you can see here, it's probably going to return a link to the Robocode docs, and this is where you're gonna see all the methods of Robocode. And if you see here, you can read what get bearing does. And you can do this for just about any line of code that you don't know what to do. Okay. Any other questions? Oh, also, William, my name is Byron, Byron, not Brian. Okay. Anything else? Yeah, you're welcome. Anything else? Yeah. Any suggestions, comments? Feel free to type them out too. Thanks, Coach Gu. No. Yeah. Actually,
I think Anthony is here now.
yeah, Anthony, and I was planning to have David and Victor help answer questions too. I know they joined the thing, but I didn't see them in the chat or anything. So, yeah. But if there's anything else, a last call for questions. Is it recording? Yeah, Melody was recording the whole thing. We're gonna post the recording of the entire session to the team YouTube channel. Just search up Technicbots 8565 Technicbots 8565 on YouTube, something like that. Our YouTube channel should pop up, and you should be able to see very soon the recording of the entire meeting.
I will link it to the email that I sent out later.
Yeah, perfect. So, how do you make bullets stronger, William? So, if you look at the fire function that's being called, here, let me share my screen. If you look at the fire function that's being called an on-scan robot, this one parameter is the power of the bullet. So you can change it to something like 3, or you can change it to something like 0.1, right? And that's going to be the power of your bullet. Higher power bullets do more damage, but they also cost more energy. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Last call for questions.
Me.
Yeah. Coach Gu just explained that 3 is the max for bullet strength.
Oh,
And I'm pretty sure 0.1 is the minimum. Yeah?
do I email you?
Yeah, sure. Feel free to email me. Did you get my email address?
I can't see you. Okay, I'll just email you.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, you can just email me if you have any more questions, and I can set up a Zoom session or work through them. How do you make your tank different colors? I believe there is a set color option. If you want to know how to make health, all tanks have the same number of health. You can't change that. If you want to know how to do certain things, simplest way, it's usually effective, is to just search them up on Google. Just search up robocode, how to, your question, something will most likely pop up. To answer your question, how do you make your tank different colors? I believe if you make a new robot, so I'm going to share my screen again. If you make a new robot, colors. Yeah, over here, you should see this function called set colors. It was commented out, but you can uncomment it, and you can set the colors to what you want. Can you help me with installing Eclipse? Yeah, sure. For Eclipse and other install instructions, just email me I sent the email. I sent my email a few times in chat. I can send it again. This robocode, right? Yeah, send it to me. I'll take a look. I'll send my email once again in chat, and just email me if you have any install problems, and I'll set up a Zoom meeting so we can work through that. All right, Henry. What robocode? I keep getting errors saying my Java is not updated. Okay, so the two main problems we've seen on Eclipse so far is one, your Java isn't the right version, so you want 64-bit, 64-bit for Eclipse. So when you look up the Eclipse install, you want to click on the option that says 64-bit. And another option is that your path isn't set up correctly. So in the doc we sent you guys, there should be a link to how to set your path variable. You want to make sure that you set your path variable to the location of your Java install. Yeah, and to check that, you want to open up your command line. We sent instructions for this in the doc as well. But you want to type in Java dash version, and that's gonna check if your Java is installed, and if it is installed, what version you're pointing to. So if it says Java 64-bit and a later version than 1.8, you should be good to go. All right. Any other questions for install or any other questions in general? And we'll set up a Zoom session for you and we'll answer your questions. All right. So with that all said and done, we're gonna end the meeting now. Okay, Melody.
Yes, I will
Yeah.
end the meeting. Thank you guys.
Yeah. Thank you all for coming.